us, and she has got a beautiful rank of 164 in INICET November 2024 exam. So Dr. Anupama, how are you feeling? कैसा लग रहा है?
Yeah, it was such a, I'm gonna say a cliche line that it was totally unexpected and obviously a good unexpected result. So really happy with it.
Many congratulations, Dr. Anupama.
Thank you so much,
So
sir.
I am sure that our listeners would want to know how did you actually prepare and what was your last moment strategy. So these are two things that every other student wants to know. So yes, over to you, Dr. Anupama.
Okay, sir. So I was a part of DAMS from my second year onwards. I joined the pre-foundation course, but we couldn't attend all the classes. We joined in a bit late. So it was just to get an orientation to see how PG preparations would look like. And then we moved on. In my third year was when COVID hit. But that was an opportunity too because like we had access to all the videos of all years, so like I made it a point to make all the notes then and there itself. And so like I was done with all the 19 subject notes by my third, fourth year. And then we went back to college in final year. And then there was a moment where I was considering if I should pursue my PG outside India. So I was not sure if I was going to go ahead with NEET. So I kind of put that on a pause. Finally, I decided to go ahead with NEET itself during my internship, but I did not prepare in my internship. I was like, I will enjoy my internship and post internship, I will give it a good go. So, like, my real preparation started in July last year, but I used the notes I made back in my third year, and I supplemented with whatever I felt was missing and whatever was important. And if some notes were not as good, I didn't feel that it was good, I remade the notes too. So, like, because I did that work back in third year, I didn't have to go through the hassle of watching everything because I had already done half the work then. So yeah, so in July my preparation began. I was mostly targeting NEET only, and then INICET was just a mock exam that we give in between NEET. That was how I viewed it. And for me, I thought INICET exam was a very big deal and something that only certain people could crack and not accessible to everyone. So when I wrote my first INICET last November in 23, and I got a rank of 1400 then. And I was surprised, like when I wrote the paper itself, I was like, oh, okay, this was the exam I was fearing all this while. It was not even, I mean, it was a big deal, but it was not as scary as I imagined it would be. So, and getting a rank of the 1400 then when I hadn't completed a lot of revisions, that was a great boost for me. So then I was like, head on. I had May INICET as a hope in the back of my mind, but I was focusing on NEET itself. And then going forward, then everything, as everyone knows, NEET got postponed multiple times. And finally, when I gave me May INICET also, but that didn't go as expected. I got 1234 was my rank then, but it was an improvement, but still it was not a big improvement. But I was like, okay, there was no time to be sad also because NEET was just around the corner. And so I gave NEET, but sadly I was part of the second shift students. I didn't go that well, and I got a rank of 2644 in NEET, but it was not what I was expecting. Like for the amount of work I put in, I felt like I deserve something better. But I was really broken and disheartened by the NEET result that I didn't want to give INICET another go. I was just like, okay, I'll go in with this. I couldn't, I was burnt out also basically because I didn't really take a break when all the postponement happened because I know it's very hard to get back on track. So I slowed my pace down, but I never really took a break. So I guess like extending that preparation from July 23 till August was enough for me. So I closed everything, and
Yeah.
yeah. And then I was like, I did not study anything. And actually, I gave my UPSC CMS exam too. So I got selected for the interview there. So I had to read up something before going for the interview. So that was in October, mid October was my interview. So like at the starting of October, I was reading like my notes just to get a few points to say in the interview. And then when I was reading, I felt okay, I can read all these things. I feel like, okay, maybe should I give INICET a try? It was like still a question for me. And then like I was weighing the pros and cons, and honestly there was no cons to giving INICET, because like there's only pros. If I get, I get. If I don't get, I don't get. So I thought, I went for the CMS interview. I was able to crack that as well. I got selected in that. And then I came back, and there was 3 weeks left for INICET. So I was like, okay, but only 3 weeks, but I will give my best. Whatever I can give in those 3 weeks, I'll give it. And so those 3 weeks I did it like dedicatedly, but it was like a time crunch for me too. But I knew what was important. Like by this 1 year, I know what are the important topics, what is more focused on in any set. So, and I had revised my notes multiple times till that point for NEET. So because of that, I could go through the subjects and whatever was important in those 3 weeks, and I just gave the exam as a go. Like I felt good after giving the exam. Like I knew that it was the best exam I gave so far, but you never know with the results.
Can you just tell our listeners how many questions did you mark? And
Hmm.
you must have, kind of calculated that, okay, I have got this around such and such, I can get these questions correct, and these are the ones that I did wrong. Or what was your overall score that you self estimated? Can you please share with all of us?
Uh, I didn't really do an estimation as such. There were few questions I was doubtful in. Those questions I did check upon which was right and wrong. And like when the scorecard came, I got 163 correct and 35 incorrect. And I left 5 questions. So that was my score. I didn't really look into recalls and all. I was like done with it. I will see when it comes. I was going with that.
You had a great feeling
Yeah.
after taking the exam, and when you came out of the examination hall, sometimes our gut tells us everything. So
Yes, definitely. Like one thing I could say was, like even after NEET, we all probably have like important stuff in our phones, right? Like the important topics and all as a
yes,
folder and all. Even after NEET, I didn't delete those things. For some reason, I felt like it was not ready to be deleted. But the moment I stepped out after this exam, I deleted everything. I deleted all the apps, and I was like, I know I'm done with it. Maybe that
wonderful.
was the gut feeling.
Wonderful, wonderful. So after giving the exam, any specific notion that you carried post exam, like, okay, this subject was asked, in such a way that the questions were pretty tricky, or this subject was present in the form of bulk. So what was your assessment of November INICT 2024 exam? How did you feel? How was the pattern overall, just the general perception?
I think a lot of it, like the core pattern that is followed in NSET, has been followed this time also, where like the first year, second year subjects are weighted more. And even when it comes to the major subjects, I would say OG and surgery took a upper hand. There, that was what I could find from after attempting the paper.
Okay, okay, okay. Any subjects that you felt that, okay, these subjects should be strong if you are going to sit for INICT November 2020, matlab, based on
Okay,
your
next time.
INICT November 2024 score, okay, these subjects should be really strong if you want to, get a good score, if you want to feel confident during the exam, and yes,
Huh.
please.
So I would say, like from the first and second year subjects, I would say pathology, pharmacology, microbiology is like really important. And OG and surgery is another important one. SPM is also important, but not the whole thing. The certain topics like biostats and epidemiology, those are more focused on. And ANAT too, they have a few questions that they usually ask, few topics that they usually ask. So if you focus on that, and like it's not just taking a topic and by hearting it, it's understanding the topic so that whatever angle they ask that question from, you're able to tackle it.
Okay, fine, fine, fine. Wonderful, wonderful. So, how did dance play a role in getting such a good rank? Let me tell you, and most of the listeners are already aware of the fact that I myself have been a dance student. I had joined
Yes.
dance in year 2015, a regular batch in Chandigarh itself, and I got selected in 2016. And so I have always been a dance zonian right from my pre-PG time to PG, now as a faculty. So how did DAMS e-medicos play a role, and what was your strategy while watching the videos, while attending our classes? Please share with our listeners. We would love to hear that.
Dams was like my like main source, like mostly my only source you could say. I added on a few other question banks, but mostly it was dams only. And like I said, I made all my notes from dams. I think there are so many underrated teachers in dams that people are really not talking about. Like one of, and not just because you're taking my interview, so you have made Oftal a really good subject for me, because I didn't think of that. Like when I studied it in third year, I thought it was just a subject I will have to by heart because it's beyond the scope of MBBS, and if you really need to get a good hold, you need to go into PG and all. But when you and Saurabh sir taught it, it felt like, oh wow, okay, I can approach all of this conceptually. I don't have to by heart all of this. And like, and that gives you a confidence that, okay, whatever question is thrown at you, you can deal with it. If you by heart and go of certain things, like it's gonna show up at some point, right? So not just and apart from that, even like pharmacology, like Tiru sir, because he his was a class I watched again during after my internship. Like I didn't feel my notes were complete back when I made it in COVID time. His class, like the way he takes the class is like revision is included within the class. So once he finish a topic and goes on to another topic, and somewhere some point is mentioned that relates back to the thing he taught previously, he explains the previous topic in detail once again. So it's like I didn't have to read farm a lot of times. Usually farm is a subject that people find difficult because there's a lot of drugs to learn, right? But because sir integrated revision within his class itself, it was very easy. Farm was a easy subject for me because of that. And even Surya sir's micro, it's like his notes are so concise. You don't really need to make another short, like usually a long subjects and all, you need to make short notes, no, to revise it quickly. But his notes are like concise in itself, that it has everything also. Sometimes you feel like, okay,
That
should I
is
add on
that is
something?
actually the idea. So we always say to our students that it is always better to do five things five times than doing 10 things one time. So for that,
Exactly.
you have to be very crisp, very conceptual, and your notes should be very, very concise. Because
Yes,
if you have got concise notes, only then you will be able to revise it multiple times. But now the competition is so cutthroat, it is so much that it is not possible to even think of sitting in the exam by doing everything once. So it gives you a pseudo feeling that you are done with
mm,
your preparation, but when you sit in the exam, the level of the questions, the concepts that they focus upon, so it is not easy for a student to mark that question correct just after going through the topic or going through the subject once. No, I think you would
yes,
also
yes.
agree with.
Yeah, you definitely have to go through the topics again and again. And it's important to add on questions to it, because that will also show like where in a certain topic what you're lacking at, so that you can have like a complete revision. Questions are also important to be added on for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. any specific faculty which you felt you connected pretty well, and how was your approach towards our transformation sessions? So Sumer sir and Deepti ma'am also did transformation sessions, and that was specifically for the students because the NEET PG exam was continuously getting, postponed, and there were students who were getting anxious, who were getting frustrated. So transformation sessions was one of the brainchild of Sumer sir. We want our students not to feel down, not to feel frustrated, not to feel anxious, and we want our students to keep on running till the time they appear for NEET PG exam, right? So
Yes,
how?
yes.
Yeah, yes.
So when it comes to faculty, like I feel like I have to say everybody's news because I don't think there was one faculty that I didn't enjoy watching. And the thing is, like when a faculty is good only, you realize how good that subject is. Like for me, back in MBBS, I was not that great at anatomy, and I thought it was a subject that I dreaded. But after attending sir's class, I realized, oh, anatomy was so simple. I was worrying for no reason. Yeah. So I think that's a good thing about dams. The kind of faculty that they have are like top notch. So like every subject, you'll fall in love with every subject. At the end, you will become confused to what you really like.
Great, great, great. So what branch are you planning to take, Dr. Anupama?
That is still a confusion for me. I'm trying to rule out a few things. If I don't really have a dream branch, so I'm ruling out based on what I like and what I dislike.
Oh, great. Any one special last message to your juniors who will be listening to you, interacting with us? And there are many, students who are preparing, who see you, who are now going to see you as a role model. So, any one special message you would specifically like to give them, you would want to motivate them, you would want to tell them that if you can do it, so they can also do it, right? We generally have a
Yeah.
perception that INICET exam is such a, it has got so much of status that we tend to rule out ourselves, right? I cannot do it. It's not my cup of tea, but that is not the case. If you are studying in the right direction under the right mentorship, so anything can be done. So I want you to give one message to our listeners. Yes.
I think like the most important thing is like to believe in yourself also that you can do these kind of exams, and it's not something that is meant for some people only. It's not as like once you go through it, you'll realize that it's doable. It's not something that's hard, but also like you can't just say it's like you can't just imagine like I will do it and go ahead. You need to put in the work for it, and you need to be consistent in putting in the work for it. And rest, as long as you are dedicated in like doing your part, I guess things will open up for you.
Wonderful, wonderful. And lastly, Dr. Anupama, we would also want to know your UG college. Which college did you graduate from?
I did my UG in Government Kilpauk Medical College in Chennai.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right, Dr. Anupama, it was entirely our pleasure to have you interacting with us. And I'm sure you are going to motivate so many, so many, so many of aspirants via this interaction. And we wish you all the very best. And yes, let's stay connected, Hannah, and we'll
Thank you
stay in
so much,
touch.
sir.
And please convey our regards to your family, mother, father, everyone at home. And
Sure,
yes,
sir.
it is our entire pleasure to have you with us.
My pleasure to be here, sir.
Best
Thank you so
wishes.
much. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank you. Bye, sir.